there, thank you for joining. This class we are going to be using some blocks, so if you have 2 blocks handy or cushions or anything really to maybe place either side to place your hands on. We're also going to be resting our backs on the blocks as well, so if you've got 2 blocks or cushions or anything like a rolled up blanket or towels, anything to support yourself. And we're going to different ways to use our blocks to activate and strengthen, and then we'll finish with happy hips and glute stretches, kind of a nice evening wind down sequence. So we're going to start sitting on the blocks in what we call hero. So we place the blocks or cushions between our feet, knees slightly forward, then we're sitting back to rest our bottom on the block. So this is hero pose, great for digestion, great if you've got things like indigestion or heartburn and things like that. It helps to stimulate the digestive organs. So the tops of your feet are resting on the floor and the toes, the pads of the toes are facing upwards. So if you just reach behind and try to separate all the toes, so all the toes are pressing down into the floor, trying to bring that little toe that wants to hide out as well, separate that. So here as well, a stretch for our shins and a stretch for our quads. So we're going to sit up tall and just bring our hands either palms down or palms up, drawing our shoulders back and our chest forward, the chin slightly into the chest or the chin just parallel with the floor, and closing the eyes. So we're going to take 5 deep breaths in and out through the nose. Right, you carry on, I just need to get a drink. Won't be a minute. Sorry about that. So you have to excuse me if I start coughing. Okay, so open the eyes if you haven't already. And then we're taking the fingertips to the side, stretching up as we breathe in, stretching up as tall as we can, fingertips towards the ceiling, breathing out, bringing the hands down. So 2 more, breathing in, grow taller, breathing out, slowly down, 1 more, breathe in, and breathe out. So this time we're going to bring our left hand outside our right thigh, right hand behind, gently drawing the chest to the right hand side, looking to the right or looking over your right shoulder. So holding here for about 5 breaths. Okay, and slowly return to the centre. Breath in again, stretch up tall. Breath out. Turning to the left, so right hand outside the left thighs, left hand behind, gently looking towards your left or looking over your left shoulder. Slowly returning to the centre, and 1 more, fingertips at the side, stretching up, breathing in, breathing out, bringing the hands slowly down. Okay, so coming to all fours, just taking the blocks just to the front. So first of all we're going to do down dog, and we're spreading our fingers. First of all pressing the fingers into the mat, turning the toes under, and first of all lifting the knees off the mat, drawing your chest through to your thighs and slowly lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. So what we want to do is try and draw our kneecaps up and keep that chest drawing through to the thighs. So it's not just a stretch for your calves and your hamstrings, you want to feel the stretch in the chest area and the shoulders. So this is good if you've got a cold, because we're opening up the chest. Okay, and a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. And slowly bring the knees back to the mat. Okay, so now we're going to try that with one block between the thighs. So down dog with the block between the thighs helps us to activate our adductors and hopefully keep our legs strong, which is what we want to feel in down dog. So turning the toes under again, squeeze the block and then lifting the hips off the mat, chest through to the thighs again, and slowly straightening the legs. So squeeze that block as hard as you can, draw the chest through to the thighs, 3 more deep breaths. And slowly bringing our knees back to the mat, and bringing the block in front, and just resting the bottom back onto the heels in child pose. So child pose, you can stretch your fingertips forward and stretch your chest open, or you can bring your hands just to rest underneath your head. So taking 5 breaths in child pose. Bring ourselves back up slowly. So now the activation again of those inner thighs, the adductors in plank. So first of all we're going to do the exercise without the block. So fingertips are spread again, fingers underneath, wrists underneath the shoulders, turning our left toes under so the left leg stretches out straight, and then all we're doing is turning the right toes under to lift up into plank. So holding in plank for 5 breaths, looking down towards the floor. And slowly lowering the knees down and resting. So then same again, this time with the block between the thighs. Okay, so squeezing that block first, turning the toes under, that plank, squeeze as hard as you can, drawing the tummy in, pressing the hands into the floor, and 5 breaths again. And slowly bring our knees to the floor, remove the block, and relax back in child pose for 5 breaths. and pressing into the hands to lift back up. So now lying on, so that was a bit of core activation. So now a bit of time to relax. So we've got 1 or 2 blocks. We're going to experiment with different positions of the legs with our sacrum, your lower back, the bottom of your spine, resting on 1 or 2 or 3 blocks or cushions. So you're resting here and you're lying back, so your shoulders and head are resting on the floor. So first of all, we're going to spend 5 deep breaths in constructive rest, which is the knees together and the feet quite far apart. So take the feet quite far apart and stretch the arms above the head and take hold of opposite elbow. So 5 breaths here. And we're changing position of the feet. Notice how it feels now to take the knees apart and bring the soles of the feet together. This is reclining supported butterfly. So again, another 5 breaths. So we're aiming for about a 12-second breath. So altogether it would be about 60 seconds. So your inhale is aiming for a count of 6. Then you exhale a count of 6 as well. Slowly bring our knees together, and then the last option here is to stretch out both legs. So here a very deep stretch for the front of the body, your hip bones and the chest. So again about 5 or 6 breaths or 60 seconds, breathing as deeply as you can, so that full diaphragmatic breathing. Now walking the feet back into the body, bending the knees. Then we take our supports away one by one. So that's all quite intense for the back. We just need to come out slowly, and we just need to do some back mobility movements. So here, just tilting the fat hands and feet flat on the floor, tilting the pubic bone up, and then slowly lowering down. So tilt up, and then press the sacrum in, so you're creating that arch underneath your back, and then tilting the pelvis up to create a flattened back. So another 3 or 4 of those, kind of articulating the lower back, your lumbar spine. And then drawing both knees into the chest. And then placing the hands on top of the knees. We're taking the knees away so the back is feeling as though it's flat on the mat. And then we're drawing the knees into the chest so the back is curling up. So a breath in to take the knees away, and a breath out to draw the knees back in. And 2 or 3 more of those. Seeing if you can work with the breath, and as you breathe out and draw the knees in, drawing the tummy in as well, which is another good stimulation for our digestive organs. And 1 more, slowly, knees in towards the chest, knees side to side. Now from here we're going to do the bridge exercise, first of all without the block and then with the block. So we want to feel what we're doing as we're lifting up into our bridge. So try and draw your feet as close as you can towards your bottom. Also a couple of those pelvic tilts to realign the back, and then if you can just touch the back of your heels with your hands, and then tilting up, breathing in as we lift up, pressing the hips up and breathing out to slowly lower back down, and we bring the sacrum or the tailbone down last. And another 3, breathing in to lift. Try to move with the flow of your breath. So when you feel ready to inhale, that's when we're lifting up. When you feel ready to exhale, lowering down. And 1 more, breathing in to lift. And out to lower. So this time we're doing the same thing. We've got the block widthways between our hands, palms pressing into the block, and we're stretching the block above the head. So this is nice for this acupressure on our, or massage on our shoulders. So again, pressing into the feet, tilting the pelvis up first, breathing in to lift up, and breathing out to lower slowly the back down. And another 3 like that. So really squeezing that block, pushing the hands together, trying to stretch the fingertips away as well, lifting up on your inhale, lowering down on your exhale. So 2 more, pressing into the feet, pressing into the block with your hands. And lower down vertebrae by vertebrae, and slowly bring the block forward. So now placing the block between the thighs. So this is where we're activating our adductors again in the bridge movement. So this time the feet are together and we're really squeezing that block as hard as we can. Pressing the hands into the floor, breathing in as we lift up, squeeze. So here we're lifting up and squeezing and holding for 5 breaths. So each time we breathe in, we're squeezing the glutes and we're squeezing our hips a little bit higher. One more inhale, hips higher, and exhale, lower down as slowly as possible. Make your exhale as long and as deep as possible. and relax the back. Feel the whole of the back relaxing down now. Removing the block, bringing both knees into the chest. So hugging the knees in and hugging your right knee into the chest as you extend the left leg along the floor. So try and push your left heel away and toes towards the face and hug that right knee in as much as you can in towards the chest for 5 breaths. And release the right leg along the floor. Both feet are together as we take a breath in and stretch the arms above the head. Point the fingers away. Really try and stretch. Feel like you're on a rack. The body is nice stretch. And exhale, draw the left knee in towards the chest. So hugging the left knee in, extending the right leg along the floor, maybe the heel away, toes towards the face, and 5 breaths. And then drawing the left leg to the floor, stretch the arms above the head, breathe in, and breathe out, bring the arms down, the knees into the chest again. So hugging the knees in, here bringing the forehead up to the knees, just curling up into the smallest ball you can. Bring the head to the floor and either roll up two-seated, drawing your tummy in, or take the knees down to the right hand side and then press into the hand to lift up slowly. Okay, so now we've got an exercise called the boat, what we're going to use the block, so it makes it a little bit harder. So we're trying it first of all without the block. So chest forward, and the legs are kind of at a triangle concertina shape, chest forward. First of all, taking the hands away, so the palms facing each other, stretching the fingertips away and lowering back a little bit. And here we can take one leg off the floor and then the other leg off the floor. We'll hold for 5 breaths. Slowly bring the feet back to the floor, and then we'll try that with a block. I think it makes it harder, makes it more focused. So we're squeezing that block between the thighs, stretch the fingertips forward, palms facing each other back, slowly lower back. So that might be enough. Keeping the chest forward, that might be enough to really strengthen the adductors and strengthen your core, or lift both feet off again and hold for 5 breaths. Okay, and bring the feet to the floor again and remove the block. Okay, so coming up to kneeling. So here, if you've got 2 blocks or cushions, we're going to rest our hands on these and step the right foot in between the hands. So we're just helping to bring the floor up towards the fingertips, which should give us a better lunge. So if you've got the hands on the floor, we're kind of rounding our back over the right thigh. So with the block, helps us to do a better posture lunge. So chest forward, feel our shoulder blades bringing down towards our back pockets, and 5 breaths. Slowly taking the hips back a little bit and the blocks back a little bit, and then coming onto the the right heel. And again, with our fingertips at the side, we can, this is called a half split, but we can get a better stretch if we can keep our chest forward and our shoulders back instead of with the hands on the floor. Gives us a rounded back. So if you've got something at the side of your, either side of your leg, or get a more intense stretch. So 5 breaths in half splits. Bringing the right foot forward again, and this time both blocks come inside your right foot, so coming into lizard. So we see if we can bring our elbows to the block. So you might need more blocks, or you might just want to rest your hands on your block. What we're aiming for is to do kind of a test to see how low we can get our right shoulder. So you might be on with the right shoulder just in line with your right knee, or maybe able to remove a block, or even have no blocks. But whichever amount of blocks or not you're on, hold for 5 breaths. And lifting up slowly, and taking the right knee and foot back, and then changing sides. So this time the blocks are just in front, hands resting on the blocks, left foot in between the blocks. So again, we've got that nice, fingertips are into the block, or palms, got that nice chest lifting forward and a nice flat spine. 5 breaths. Bringing our hips back, so now the left leg is straight and we're onto the left heel, taking the blocks just back as well, so that underneath the shoulders, trying to have a flat spine. 5 breaths in the half split. Bringing the hips forward again, left foot flat into the floor, and then both blocks inside the left foot to come into our lizard. So hands resting on the block inside the left foot, or elbows if you can make it down there. And notice where your left shoulder is in relation to your left knee. And 5 breaths. Removing the block if you need to. And pressing into the blocks, stepping the left foot back and resting back in child pose for a few breaths. Bring yourself back up now to tabletop. Spread the fingers, wrists underneath the shoulders, coming into down dog again. So turning our toes under and knees off the mat, chest through to the sides. First of all, feel the opening in the shoulder blades if you can, and lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. So here, walking the dog. So lifting one heel, pressing the other heel into the mat. Notice the stretch in the calf. Maybe the sole of the foot, you'll be getting a stretch. Pedaling the feet up and down. And then with the knees slightly bent, walking the hands back towards the feet and come into a standing forward fold. So we can keep those knees soft if you have any back issues or knee issues. And there's a couple of options where to bring your hands. So you can bring your hands behind your heels and take your elbows out to the side. Let the crown of the head come down towards the floor. You can have your fingertips just in front of your toes, or you can take hold of opposite elbow. So hold for those deep 5 breaths. I'm going to lift up slowly. First of all, pressing the feet into the floor, soften the knees, draw the fingertips up the body, chin on the chest, slowly lifting up and bringing the head up last. Shaking out the shoulders. Okay, so move now with the block to open up our shoulders. So we've got the, like we did in the bridge, so holding on to the block, pressing into the block, we're lifting up above the head, squeezing, really trying to keep the arms straight, and then we're bringing the hands behind, again drawing our chest forward and shoulders back, and then we're taking hold of the block the other way, so stretching up again, and then bringing the block round. See if we can lift the arms away. Feel those shoulder blades drawing together, and then back to the centre, stretching up. So 2 more each side. Taking behind. So if you went round the left side, this time coming behind the right side. And then lifting through the left side. 1 more, stretching up. And behind, stretch those arms away, squeeze and release. Okay, so that's just to loosen off the shoulders and open our chest. So now, to feel that opening in the chest, going to do the pyramid pose and see if we can also do revolved pyramid, which sometimes is quite tricky. So I'm going to use the wall. So I'm stepping my right foot forward. And I've got the blocks outside my right foot. Stepping my left foot back. Okay, and I'm pressing my hands into the wall. And the blocks are by my right ankle, outside my right ankle. So first of all, I want to walk the hands down the wall as far as you can. But try to push your bottom back and keep that feeling in your shoulder blades, that you're opening your chest. So you're trying to bring your chest down towards the floor. So this is pyramid, drawing both kneecaps up. So if you want to also press your both heels into the floor, especially your back heel, your left heel into the floor. Then from here we're trying to go into Revolve Triangle. So we're bringing both hands outside the right foot onto your block. Keep trying to bring your chest forward though. So that might be enough, or you can press the left hand into the block and bring our right hand onto our lower back. So we need to have this open chest, so that exercise with the block is good. So from here, trying to bring your chest up towards the right hand side, even if you want to, stretching the right fingertips up. So if you can, the challenge a bit for the balance, pressing the big toes into the floor to help. Hold for another 3 breaths. And I'm bringing that right hand back with relief to the blocks, then walking the hands up the wall, coming up slowly. It's quite an intense stretch. Okay, and stepping the left foot to join the right foot. Shake out. So now we need to do the other side. So I'll have to hold on to the wall here. So now my left foot's forward and the right foot's back. So we've kind of got our right toes at about 5 past on a clock. I'm just going to hold on to the wall with my right hand first of all, and my left hand on the hip. But if you've got the wall handy, go for the wall. So breathing in, pressing the feet into the floor and drawing the kneecaps up. Going forward, first of all, into pyramid. Have your blocks handy outside your left foot. So the pyramid, we want to keep bringing our chest forward, pressing back into our right heel. And maybe that's enough. This is a nice stretch, an enjoyable stretch. And then if you want to be more challenging, we go into revolved pyramid. So hands outside, resting on the block. Just maybe adjusting. So to keep our balance, we want to remember to press the big toes into the mat. So here we're bringing our right hand onto the block and our left hand onto our lower back. This is harder this side. I think it's harder because I'm not as open in the shoulders or the chest, I'm not sure. So I'm trying to bring my chest up to the left and stretching the left fingertips up So don't worry if you lose balance, you can just bring your hand underneath your shoulder if that's easier. But if you have your hand outside your left foot, you'll get a better rotation. So 3 more breaths. And slowly lower and step the right foot to join the left foot and lift up slowly. So that was probably quite tough. I found it quite tough, the Revolved Pyramid. So one more tough-ish exercise. So this is bicycles on a block. So we're standing with our one finger on the wall, standing with the left foot on the block and the right hand on the hip. So this is strengthening our right hip mainly. So all we're doing is imagining we're on a bicycle. So we're drawing that foot back and the knee up. Just doing about another 30 seconds. Okay, and then we're changing, so we're back pedaling. So the foot is lifting up and back. So we might feel that burning now in our lifting leg. Just means we're strengthening the hip and the glute. Good for our knees. So anything that we do with the block, like the bridge exercise, the plank exercise, where we're activating our adductors, that's brilliant for the knees, stabilising the muscles around the knees. Okay, and then one more move here. So right foot goes towards the floor and then hitches up. So up. So we feel our right hip lifting up. The foot comes off the floor and on the floor. And another 10 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Give the hips a rub, and then we go to the other side. So now our right foot is pressing onto the block, and then we're cycling forwards with the left leg. 30 seconds. Keep going, 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1, and then opposite way. So lifting the foot up and back. Ooh. Might feel this tomorrow. Just shows that we've strengthened. Ooh. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1, and then that hip hitch, so left foot onto the floor, lift up. So we can feel the left hip coming up and down. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Okay. Right, so coming to sit on our mats. One more nice-ish move for the calves with the block. So I did this in the session the other week, and it's quite intense. But say if you've got worries in your mind or things going on you're anxious about in your head, because it's quite intense when we're doing this myofascial release on the calves, it helps to take your mind off things that are going on. I think that's the theory anyway. So we're just using the edge of our block to self-massage our fascia. So the fascia is like the bag that surrounds the muscles. So you just want to first of all bring it to the bottom of your calf, but not anywhere near the ankle joint. We want to just stay in the muscle area, nowhere near the bones, because they're a little bit too fragile. So first of all, we're just taking that right on the edge of the block, taking the toes side to side and finding any tender spots, or they might all be tender. And then just holding over to the right hand side and pointing and flexing the toes. So this is called functional movement that we're doing as we're doing the self massage. And then toes over to the left and point and flex as well. Or you can draw a circle with the toes. Just really getting those niggly tender points. Okay, and then moving the block so it's right in the centre of the calf, so the belly of the calf here. And again, toes side to side first of all. Noticing if it's a bit more tender. For me it's more tender as I take my toes to the left, so I can point and flex there. Intense. And roll, make a circle with the toes. We need to get the bits that want to hide away, hard to access areas of the calf. Okay, and then just about 3/4 of the way up, but not underneath the knee, because again that's fragile. So toes side to side, or knees side to side. That bit for me doesn't feel as tender, but if it does, we can again point and flex, or roll that circle, make the circle with the big toes. Might feel quite gristly. Okay, and then we'll go to our other leg for what we call myofascial release. So just make sure your heel, your calf is on the edge of your block, and we're just near the base of your calf. So it feels quite tight, but just make sure you're staying away from your heel area. Don't want to be going near the Achilles. So maybe use your pressure point if it feels tight and hold, or point and flex, or draw the circle. So for maximum benefits, we want to be spending about a minute on the each area. So moving, so we're halfway up again into the belly, seeing where it's quite tight or nutty. Maybe holding, pointing and flexing, using that functional movement. So we've got the two different parts, the gastroc or the gastrocnemius and the soleus in the calf. And the soleus is the smaller one that's hard to access. Okay, and last, moving to near the top of the calf, which here doesn't feel as bad. Make sure we're on the edge of the block. and side to side, or holding on the pressure point. Maybe some deep breaths might help to remove or ease off on the knots. Okay, and removing the block. So from here, I'm going to do our 10 minutes or so of a sequence to give us happy hips, release happy hips. So we store quite a lot of tension in our hips, and it's hard to get the blood flowing into this area. So we want to be focusing on breathing as deeply as possible. And I'll show you 3 different ways to do, first of all, the swan or the pigeon. So we'll do the first way, which is reclining, or some people call this thread the needle, or figure 4. So we'll start with our lying back, just making sure our back is flat into the floor, and then drawing the left ankle so it's over the right thigh, and then the right foot lifts off the floor. We can take our hands underneath the right knee or on top of the right shin. If it's easier as well, you can rest your right calf on a chair, or you can press your right foot into the wall, which is a bit more relaxing. If you want to, you can stay in reclining swan or pigeon, or we can draw the tummy in and roll up to the seated version. So seated, left ankle over right thigh. Here you can place the hands behind, bringing your chest as close as you can towards your left shin. So more intense in the hip stretch here, the glute stretch, great stretch for the piriformis, helps to prevent sciatica. So chest forward as much as you can. And going into the next version, if you want to try this one. So this time the left shin comes on the floor, kind of in line with your front of your mat, and we come forward onto our hands, and the right leg goes back as far as it can. So we've got proud pigeon or proud swan. You can flex the left toes to help support your left knee, or you can just let that toe be pointed or flexed, it's up to you. And if your hip is quite high up on the left side, you would get a block underneath your left hip. So the proud version, a bit more of a back bend with the chest forward, or sleeping is we bring the elbows down to the floor. And then there is one more option. So this is king pigeon or king swan. So here we lift up that right leg and take hold of the right ankle with the right hand, drawing that right foot as close as you can towards the bottom. So a deep, intense stretch for our right thigh muscles, our quadriceps. bringing the right leg to the floor, right foot to the floor, drawing our left knee back and coming onto our backs again. So staying with the reclining version if that feels better on our opposite side. So right ankle over left thigh and right knee pushes away. So this might be enough. It's still enough to feel that back pressing into the floor, pressing that right knee away. It's great for the back to bring it back into your natural alignment. Still gentle hip opening for the right thigh and the right hip. So if we're going further, we're lifting the left foot off the floor, taking the left hands underneath, both hands, underneath the left knee or on top of the left shin. We can flex our toes to stabilise the muscles around the knee joint. And here, if you don't want to go into the further postures, you could rest your left calf on a chair or left foot on the wall. If you want to progress, we could roll up to the seated version. So drawing the tummy in as we roll up. And the hands behind, fingertips out to the side, drawing our chest through to the right shin. Flexing those right toes, if that feels good. And moving into the proud swan or sleeping swan or pigeon. So the right shin is in front. We coming forward, turning the left toes under to stretch the left leg behind. Press the hands into the floor. Again, if you need to, you could get a block for underneath your right hip. So you can stay lifted. We'll come down to the sleeping version onto your elbows. Maybe trying the king of the pigeons. So this time lifting up your left foot, pressing the right hand into the floor just underneath your right shoulder, reaching behind for the left ankle with the left hand and drawing that left heel towards the bottom. Left foot back to the floor, left hand forward, bringing our right knee back. We're coming to lie on our backs. So we'll do some dynamic reclining twists. So feet together and knees together and arms out like a T shape. Really trying to stretch the fingertips away and just relaxing our shoulders, feeling our back release down into the floor. And we breathe in, breathe out, take knees down to the right. Breathe in, center, draw the tummy in. Keep the tummy drawn in as we take the knees down to the left. And then knees down to the right again. Knees slowly to the center, breathing in. Breathing out, knees down to your left. Breathing in, knees to the centre again. So here, if you've got time, I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes doing 10 deep breaths. So you just need to release your back, bring the knees into the chest. And with the breaths, we're counting them. We're counting starting at 10 and all the way down to 1. So in your own mind, it's saying inhale 10, exhale 10, inhale 9, exhale 9. I'm trying to slow your breath down, noticing everything about the breath until you reach 1. You stay in your final relaxation if you like, or ready to move, wriggling the fingers, wriggling the toes, bringing both feet together, stretching the arms above the head. Take a deep breath in. Arms slowly come down as you breathe out. If it feels good, bring the knees in towards the chest, just hugging the knees in. And when you're ready, lifting up slowly. Okay, thank you. See you soon. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.